So today's presentation will be on more broader and basic subject, the freedom of religion or belief, also known as FREEBERI in the European Union, and the EU external policy on its promotion and protection. So what will be this presentation about? First of all, I will introduce the concept of freedom of religion or belief, its definition, its the use of the term in the EU documents of the EU law. And the other part will be about documents and the European Union policy on external promotion and protection. One interesting thing at the very beginning to mention is that the EU uses this term external, not foreign, because foreign is a term for states, and the EU is not a state, it is an organization which is the closest to be some sort of federation, confederation, but it is using the term external. I think we need to use no, it's okay.
Okay.
So at the very beginning, what is freedom of religion or belief? Freedom of religion or belief. Why do we use the term of religion or belief? Because not all beliefs are religious ones. There are also non-religious beliefs like agnosticism and atheism, which are simply not, which is simply a belief but rejecting religion by people. So this freedom of religion or belief is considered a fundamental human right, which was recognized first of all by the European Convention on Human Rights, which is the most fundamental document. And freedom of religion or belief is guaranteeing a freedom to, first of all, choose, change, or abandon a religion or belief system. So to join the community, join some belief, or not, and possibly change it. The second one is to practice worship and freedom of observance of religious or, again, not religious, but some rituals related to some beliefs. The other is to freely express and manifest religion or belief in any and all forms. And the other is to be free of coercion by any authority, either state or non-state actors, that would, it switched off, I think. No, it didn't? Okay. But to compare the freedom to adopt or leave such religion or because many countries, it is, for example, mostly Muslim countries, it is bound to commit apostasy because it is against the strict interpretation of the Sharia law. And expression and manifestation of religion is also an issue in this issue. I will use many recent examples to prove this problem. Why this particular process is problematic to implement it in defense. So from the beginning, the European Convention on Human Rights is the most fundamental document. It was drafted in 1950 by the Council of Europe. The Council of Europe itself being formed a year before. The Council of Europe is the first for after World War II for pan-European intergovernmental political organization, which was supposed to defend to protect the post-World War II European security system. And originally, three institutions were responsible for the enforcement of the obligations which were undertaken by the member states of the Council of Europe. The first being the European Commission on Human Rights, the other being the European Court of Human Rights, and the third one being Committee of Ministers of the Council of Europe. Nothing is mentioned about the EU because there was no other pan-European organization supposed to defend the political order, the human rights, or not to imagery, it would be good, right? It would be good to show the current map. No. Okay, that's it. Which nations are part of the Council of Europe? As of now, almost all of Europe is a part of the Council of Europe. Many countries which are not in the EU are a part of the Council of Europe. The only country which has never been fully recognized country, two countries in Europe which have never been in the Council of Europe were Vatican City, so the Holy See, and also Belarus, because Belarus adopted death penalty. And kept that penalty and never abolished it, and because of that they never joined the Council of Europe. Russia was in the Council of Europe. Now Russia was suspended, it was not fully ejected from the COE, but in the Council of Europe is pretty broad. The Caucasian countries are part of it, Turkey is a part of it, Norway, Iceland, of course the United Kingdom has always been. It is a much broader sphere of countries than in the EU. So the other major document is Charter of Nice. Of Nizza. Formally, it is known as the Charter of Fundamental Rights of the European Union. It was drafted and proclaimed in the year 2000, and the article which is interesting us the most is Article 10. In the previous European Convention of Human Rights, it was Article 9, and then in the Charter of Nice, this charter, this particular article, became Article 10. And the Article 10 it has 2 points. Number 1, everyone has the right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. This right includes freedom to change religion or belief and freedom, either alone or in community with others, and public or private, to manifest religion or belief in worship, teaching, practice, and observance. Number 2, the right to conscientious objection is recognized in accordance with the national laws governing the exercise of this right. This is the very popular concept of restraining rights to express extremist views, which would impair the granted freedom of religion to others, prevent radical and contradictory forces from imposing their will being against such freedom of religion. Okay. So now another map, because I would like to also say which countries are the most targeted in EU foreign policy, and which countries are most targeted with EU external policy regarding the freedom, promotion, protection of the freedom of religion and belief. These are most importantly nations of Eastern Europe, of Caucasus, Turkey, the Balkans, and also the Middle East and North Africa, basically what is considered close neighborhood of the EU. Naturally, the most difficult cases are right now Ukraine and also Middle East and North Africa because of these places instability and also cultural characteristics. Right. Okay. So moving to the documents establishing framework of the EU external policy, first of all, were the EU guidelines and the mandate of the EU special wait. I switched by the EU guidelines on the promotion and protection of freedom of religion or belief were adopted by the Council of the European Union at the Foreign Affairs Council meeting in Luxembourg on 24 June 2013. They established FREEBERI as a universal right. They also established general policy framework, and they reaffirmed that the EU internally is committed to respect freedom of religion or belief, but also it committed itself to pursue this agenda externally outside the EU. And the EU guidance underlines broad diplomatic tools of external implementation to be utilized but no actual position or institution to directly answer this new policy goal of the EU. And this be part of the document which actually did more to advance this cause, where the EU guidance and the mandate of the EU Special Envoy on the promotion of freedom of religion or belief outside the EU. It was adopted by the European Parliament as a resolution, so not Council of the European Union, it was European Parliament. It was its resolution. It was adopted on 15 January 2019. It created special envoy on the promotion and protection of freedom of religion or belief outside the EU. And this mandate sought to effectively attempt to implement this guidance of year 2013. And the resolution focused on external promotion of FREEBERI. It was nothing this time about internal implementation protection in the EU. It was just about outside the EU. So what the special envoy and the EU External Service is called European External Action Service. This is the institution within the EU which is supposed to pursue, to conduct, to manage relations with outside the EU, with foreign actors, with state actors, with non-state actors in the name of the EU. So the special envoy was supposed to monitor violations. It was done in 2019. So we have, for example, the great crisis in Myanmar, Rohingya people facing genocide, and also, of course, violence in the Middle East. What else? Of course, there was religious persecution in Europe, for example, Russian policy towards the Tatars, so also targeted Muslims. Tatars because of Muslim faith or Crimea, and obviously because it is advocacy and lobbying, which is an important part of the policy. So negotiations, meetings, personal diplomacy conducted with not just state leaders or representatives of state governments, but also NGOs, various lobbying groups which could successfully influence governments and societies, but also meeting with religious leaders who are very important, especially in the Middle East, leaders of Middle Eastern churches. This is obviously easier in case of Christianity, because in Islam there is no equivalent of Pope, and there is much more freedom of interpretation and much greater presence of religious authority in Islam. And naturally, and as here mentioned, coordination with other organizations and activities, so not just negotiating, but also working with them. current special envoy of on the promotion of freedom on the promotion of FORB is Frans van Der, he's a Belgian, he's a secretary to the Belgian Royal Cabinet. And I think here we are ending the presentations, 15 minutes. So thank you for your attention.